We come today in our study to John chapter 3, verse 16. Perhaps the most well-known passage in all of the Bible as it's quoted regularly all over the globe. Nicodemus, the prominent teacher in Israel, comes to Jesus, and Jesus tells him that he must be born again. Born of God. God does the work. But in that exchange, it gives us this amazing verse that I think is one of the best Christmas verses in all of the Bible. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believes in him shall not perish, but have everlasting life. John chapter 3, verse 16 shows us God the giver. Not because it was earned by man, not because it was deserved by man, not for any other reason, but simply because of who God is, a giver. For God so loved the world that he gave. And it's amazing because we come at Christmas time and we give each other gifts and we try to give good gifts, but we're not perfect givers, but God is. God's giving is perfectly in line with man's need. God knows man's problem, and God knows that only he can provide the need for man's problem. So God gives the perfect solution. Worship God, the giver. That's what we celebrate here at Christmas time. But the passage reveals more to us than just God, the giver. It emphasizes God's love, right? John, or in 1 John, he wrote, God is love. And here in the text, we see the same thing. God's giving defines God's love. So, for God so loved the world that he gave. It's an interesting passage. We often read it as, like, for God so loved, and he loved so much that he gave. But that's not correct. That's not how the passage breaks down. It's actually saying, for God so loved, or because he's love, and that's his nature, then it describes love, that he gave. It's not a so much, it's a description of who he is. It's because he is. And so, the emphasis of God's love is revealed to us and defined for us in his living, or is his giving. So he loves in this way that he gives. He gives the perfect gift. He loves you, he gives the perfect gift, what man needs, and it's his one and only Son. I mean, this gift that God gave us is incredible. God's love for imperfect people was shown in giving his only Son. God knew that he was giving Christ to rejection, that he was giving Christ to death. God gave his most precious treasure, his Son, to die on behalf of man. That's incredible. I love my Son. I wouldn't give my Son to save another human being. I would save my Son over another human being. I'm so thankful that I'm not God. Here in the text, we have God who gives his own Son to save other people. Christmas is the celebration of that love. As we study that God so loved the world, he gave the world exactly what they needed, his Son. We see that it was a costly love. We see that it's a powerful love. We see that it's the love of God. That's what Christmas reveals to us. Celebrate in it as we head into this amazing season.